Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this latest edition of
Story number 1. Eternal, written by Prussian Joe. There, still out there. I know it. Come off it. They disappeared 1,000 years ago. No way any of them are left. Not after what they did. I'm telling you, they're coming. I have proof this time. Real proof. You had proof last time, too. That proof lost you your job and most of your sanity. Look, I've been in the quarantine zone. I've seen the truth. I swear I have. You went into the QZ. Are you stupid? If anyone finds out, you'll be executed. The risk was worth it. I had to know what happened. What really happened. We know what happened. They created a black hole and swallowed themselves up. If they did, then where's the black hole? I've been to the QZ. There was nothing. Nothing! It probably collapsed. Like the scientists said it might. Maybe they'll lift the quarantine. They'll never lift the quarantine. What makes you say that? Because the second they do, everything will fall apart. The society is built on that quarantine being active, and what they are supposedly protecting us from being the truth. It isn't. And when people find out, it'll be the end of everything. What did you find in there? The truth. They aren't dead. They're only gone for a while, searching for something, looking for answers. But they'll be back. I know they will. Mukhtar Marin, recorded shortly before his apparent suicide, 8 years before the return.
Citizens of the Society, welcome to our 1000th Festival of Rebirth. On this day, 1,000 years ago, the mantle of the galaxy leadership fell upon the shoulders of giants so that we may rise to our full potential. And rise we have. Please, all of you, eat, drink, and thank your society for raising us up together.
Primarch Vendilius, 5 years before the return. Sir, we're getting some anomalous readings from the QZ. Society Commands has asked us to investigate. Admiral Taynor looked through the Primarch's orders, his face a study of military rigidity. I want the shadow field dropped in Quadrant 17B in preparation for our entry into the QZ. Aye, sir. Quarantine control confines opening to Quadrant 17B for entry. Bring us in. Send Priority Omega-Com to the Primarch to inform him of the situation. The Grand Admiral leaned back in his chair and clasped his mandibles together. There had been readings like this in the past, but they were getting stronger, more regular. As the warship passed through the shadow field boundary, Dana felt that familiar chill race along his carapace. He was back in the quarantine zone, and things were uniformly strange here. It always felt like they were being watched. Grand Admiral Taynor's personal journals recovered from the warship Majesty 2 years before the return. We can never forget the society is built on the largest lie in the galaxy. We cannot forget why society was formed. The work must continue, for something is coming. I can feel it. We must be gone before then. All our transgressions shall be judged with harshness beyond measure. Primarch Vandilius to the High Council, speaking of Project Exodus 10 months before the return. A millennia ago, we left you. You gave us oaths, promises to await our return. Yet, as soon as we departed, those oaths were shattered. Promises forgotten. Your leaders have lied to you. They have built this society of yours on our ashes. For lifetimes uncounted, we waited in the beyond past the veil. We watched, waited, and learned. We have returned as promises. Spectres from the past coming to life. Wrathful gods are we, turning again to our creations and finding them lacking. Transmission from quarantine zone seconds before the shadow field collapse. Day of return. 1,000 years, that's all it was. For us, it had been tens of thousands, lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. We saw their quarantine form. We heard their whispers of conspiracy. We saw through their lies, even as they formed them in their tongues. Past the veil, in the beyond, we waited. How knowledge grew, how technology advanced, and our people stagnated. That same tired minds labored into eternity. There were tears in the fabric of existence, and when we peered through them, we saw the universe on a knife's edge. One wrong move, one shift in balance in the wrong direction, and it would all fall. We saw a game for what it was, so we stopped playing. In our step outside of time and space, we balanced the scales, and with our return, we will tip them in our favor. Those of you who knew, who broke your oaths, who even now try to flee, will be punished. Those of you who are innocent, who knew not of any oath, who have minds free of that guilt, will be spared. For there is still need. Together we might stop the coming storm. Apart, we may ride it out into the uncertain future. But shattered, we will fall beneath the waves. Our empire was and is still eternal. What was ours shall be again, and when we arrive, we expect obedience and subservience as it was in the old days. When our ships fill your sky, those that kneel, that give their fealty, will be lifted high. Those who stand in defiance shall be cast down. Watch for us. Address from Justinian the Golden to every individual in the society, 2 days after the return. Our oath was kept. Commander Chakar of the Order of Soul, the vanguard of the Eternal Empire, 3 days after the return. We flew too close to the sun, so we must burn. Final entry in Primarch Vendilius's journal, shortly before the vanguard's arrival over the capital. It has been passed into myth and legend, a story to tell children. The Eternal Empire was a golden age, an era to strive towards reclaiming. Yet, history remembers the myths and legends, and not everything in the Empire was gold. Arch-Scholarus Yanmer, highest authority of ancient history at the university. Most forgotten, something we cannot fault for the innocent for. Those that neglected, however, they will face our retribution. Lord Captain Separatist, commander of the vanguard of the Eternal Empire, 1 week after return. They descended as angels, but fire in the eyes spoke of another purpose. They came not as saviors, but as gods of war, returning home to find traitors in their midst. The calling was rapid, brutal, and efficient. If you held the oath true in your mind, then you had nothing to fear. Doubt, regret, rebellion, these things were extinguished. Only the faithful were spared. Governor Uther of the Ra'ani, on the arrival of the vanguard and the subsequent culls, 13 days after the return. Almost overnight, the society was eradicated. In its place returned the Eternal Empire, resuming command as it had never left. Old Earth, long thought destroyed, reappeared into a universe as a shining realm of unimaginable wonder. The Eternal Empire of humanity had returned from its long absence. They came as conquerors, lords and gods amongst the lesser mortals, but they also came as teachers, as instructors in new marvels beyond anything created since the Empire's departure 1,000 years before. The Eternal Empire had a goal, a directive that it would not let fall to any other. Some called it callous and harsh, others noble and mighty. The truth is that humans saw something that made them flee to the beyond. They sacrificed a galactic empire so that they may save the universe. We still don't know how long it was for them in the beyond. For in that place, time has a different meaning. They prepared for something big, something that we cannot perceive. We can only trust that they will save us. I believe that they will. I believe that they must. The Architect of Thule, personal memoirs written during the creation of the history of the Eternal Empire of Humanity, 10 years after the return. End of story. The algorithm reckons you should be watching this video next, and I recommend that you should be always watching my video. So, click with energy! And yes, clicking that does help the channel. Thank you very much. I just want to give a quick thanks to the Tier 5 patrons and channel members. Alithia, Barky, Fudic Yol, Cam Maxwell, Caspar Onholtz, White Van 420, Lord Asrakal, Arcalian, and Oakfield.